Yo, what's up, people? Day 5, I think. Yeah, day 5. Starting to get a bit of steam in doing this. Day 5 of my Mad Rambles. An idea what I'm going to talk about today. I think today is going to be about. I want to talk about the idea of consistency and focus when you're doing something. And how focused should you be, and do you need to be to achieve ultimate success? I think in society there's a lot of distractions. I've said before about instant dopamine and instant gratification, and doing the hard things is what's needed to be done to achieve success ultimately. But I also think that singleness of focus is also really important. Like, I've heard singleness of focus a lot. People talk about it. You have like Conor McGregor, he talks about it all the time, or used to anyway back in the day. And how necessary is that for success? Like, you see people with 10 businesses and they're getting so many different income streams. I'm like, yeah, it's so great. You got so many different income streams. If anything happens, you just have another one. Great. But is it really detrimental because you can never blow one of them up? You're always sort of keeping them just successful purely because you can't go deep, you can't go full in, you can't fully immerse yourself within them purely because you just don't have the time. Your time is spread between 10 businesses. Whereas if you only had one, your time would be 100% on one business. So you'd be able to push it to the max, take it to the highest of heights that it's possibly capable of, because you can, because all your focus is just on that one particular thing. And I think it's interesting because when does that become more beneficial than having more income streams? So, for instance, is it more beneficial to just be focused on one thing, one business, one thing? You're doing one thing, versus being spread over three things but having multiple incomes if something happens, right? And also, how deep and focused do you have to be to have that singleness of focus? Is singleness of focus just having one business, or is it having one priority, one thing in life? Like, I've again talked about Conor McGregor, but I've heard him in some interviews and quotes that he said that he said there's football games, there's rugby games going on this day, that day, the other day, and everyone just wants to talk about it. But he's like, I just can't listen to it because I'm just so focused on that singular one thing and fighting for him. And is it more beneficial to allow those external things to come in so that you're uh, not fully immersed, but you can sort of take a step back and refresh and just sort of recover from your work for, even if it's an hour, 2 hours, or even if it's an hour, 2 hours a week? Like, that step back and then zoom back in, is that beneficial, or is it more beneficial to just fully go hard, fully commit to one thing only? And is there merit in just saying you're going to do that and doing it? Because obviously, the whole beauty of saying you're going to do something is the actual going out and achieving it. And I think today I was like, I didn't want to do this. I was tired. I didn't want to do this. I was like, I can't be asked. It's not late, but like, it's 7. It's getting on, and it would be easy not to do this, but I said 100 days, so 100 days it is, whether that's fun or not. And every time I post these, it's kind of awkward. Hopefully, I feel like I'm getting better, get more fluid in my speech, having a direction on what I want to talk about, not fidgeting as much, not looking in the camera, trying to look at myself. But like, just sitting here being like, fuck it, if I don't like it, who gives a shit? Consistency. I said I'm gonna do it, so I'm fucking do it, and here I am. And there's merit in that, I think. There's respect in that, hopefully. I think as well, people commit to something, but but they've still got like other things in their mind. And then they talk about, oh, I've got my priorities, you know. And even if they are focused, they've got their priorities, and they're talking about, oh yeah, I've got my priorities. I've got to do my work, then I've got to go gym. But then it's not a priority. The work is a priority, and it comes before gym. The gym is sort of if you have time, and obviously you got to look on after your physical health because that benefits your mental health and your business as a byproduct, but also your longevity and whatnot. So it's important to take it to focus at least a part of your life on your physical health. But when does it become too much taken away from your main focus? Like, is there? I presume there's a sweet spot between alright, four workouts a week's good enough, 5 workouts a week's good enough. An hour in the gym's good enough, 45 minutes is good enough. You know, the sweet spot where you do the minimal amount of physical activity to get the most amount of results from it, to which you can spend the most amount of time on your business, to where you can get the most amount of results. Now that's what I imagine fully committing and discipline and consistency to be. It's that singleness of focus and purpose. Because people talk about it all the time. Oh, I'm disciplined, oh, I'm focused. And they're like, oh, yeah, I went out last week. Or, oh, not even that, oh, yeah, I watch football. I can't watch football. Like, I enjoy it. It's something I enjoy, not just to watch, but to talk about. Engaging when you're out. And am I, by doing that, a detrimentally hurting my focus and potential through other areas, be that business or fitness or whatever it is? And to be truly successful, only fixate on one thing. You know, I say one thing being that I've realised there are certain things that should come as sort of like maintenance, like you've got to do, and like sleep's fucking one of them. You've got to fucking eat, and potentially gyms and other. They're sort of things that you got to do just to be able to do that one thing. And then you do that one thing and you achieve your goal. You achieve your goal, but not just achieve it, you achieve it to the highest standard possible. And but also, does that depend per person? You know, you can have 100 people in a room, 50 people respond well to that, 50 people don't. But is it the 50 people who don't fault, 50 people that don't respond well to that, is that their fault and their problem? Like, is that just something that they've got to endure and get over? Or is it better to switch it and just do what they're naturally better at? You know, like you see so many people who are like, oh yeah, on my diet, yeah, I've just got to have a cheat day or whatever, just to focus myself, you know, not burn out and whatnot. But is that just a weakness of them? Like, they didn't actually have to do that. They just don't want to. They just want to do it. So it's an excuse, and the idea of burnout is an excuse, and the idea of recovery, like I mentioned earlier about how you've got to sort of take a step back, maybe for 2 hours a week, and just, you know, do something else to refresh your mind. Is that a weakness? Because there'll always be the people who don't. So are you then lying to yourself inadvertently? You are lying to yourself by saying that you have to do these things when in reality you don't. You just choose to do them because you're not strong enough to do that one thing that you said you were going to do and fixate and focus on that wholeheartedly. And these are the things I'm wrestling with, thinking about, trying to process through my brain and understand, because I want to achieve. I don't want to waste my life. I want to achieve the most possible in this time that I'm given. You don't always choose the amount of time you're given, but what you can choose is what you do with that time. And yeah, cool. Not everybody technically starts from a base layer. Base layer. In terms of, some people are less fortunate than others, physically, mentally, and socially. But do we all still have the same potential and the same body and ability to achieve whatever you want to achieve? Yeah, I think we do. I think we do. And I think it's up to us to achieve the best we can. And I think if we're lying to ourselves saying that, oh, I need this rest because it'll benefit me, is just ultimately lying to your goal and your true best self. And that's 10 minutes. Been a good talk. I've been Keelan. Peace.